Number 5. The sixth cholera pandemic. Like its 5 previous incarnations, the sixth cholera pandemic originated in India where it killed over 800,000, before spreading to the Middle East, North Africa, Eastern Europe, and Russia. The sixth cholera pandemic was also the source of the last American outbreak of cholera, 1910 to 1911. American health authorities, having learned from the past, quickly sought to isolate the infected, and in the end only 11 deaths occurred in the U.S. By 1923 cholera cases had been cut down dramatically, although it was still a constant in India. Number 4. The flu pandemic of 1918. Between 1918 and 1920 a disturbingly deadly outbreak of influenza tore across the globe, infecting over a third of the world's population and ending the lives of 20 to 50 million people. Of the 500 million people infected in the 1918 pandemic, the mortality rate was estimated at 10% to 20%, with up to 25 million deaths in the first 25 weeks alone. What separated the 1918 flu pandemic from other influenza outbreaks was the victims, where influenza had always previously only killed juveniles and the elderly or already weakened patients. It had begun striking down hardy and completely healthy young adults, while leaving children and those with weaker immune systems still alive. Number 3. The Asian flu. Asian flu was a pandemic outbreak of influenza A of the H2N2 subtype, that originated in China in 1956 and lasted until 1958. In its 2-year spree, Asian flu traveled from the Chinese province of Guizhou to Singapore, Hong Kong, and the United States. Estimates for the death toll of the Asian flu vary depending on the source, but the World Health Organization places the final tally at approximately 2 million deaths, 69,800 of those in the U.S. alone. Number 2. The flu pandemic of 1968. A Category 2 flu pandemic sometimes referred to as the Hong Kong flu, the 1968 flu pandemic was caused by the H3N2 strain of the influenza virus, a genetic offshoot of the H2N2 subtype. From the first reported case on July 13, 1968 in Hong Kong, it took only 17 days before outbreaks of the virus were reported in Singapore and Vietnam, and within 3 months had spread to the Philippines, India, Australia, Europe, and the United States. While the 1968 pandemic had a comparatively low mortality rate, 5%, it still resulted in the deaths of more than 1 million people, including 500,000 residents of Hong Kong, approximately 15% of its population at the time. Number 1. HIV or AIDS pandemic. First identified in Democratic Republic of the Congo in 1976, HIV/AIDS has truly proven itself as a global pandemic, killing more than 36 million people since 1981. Currently there are between 31 and 35 million people living with HIV, the vast majority of those are in sub-Saharan Africa, where 5% of the population is infected, roughly 21 million people. As awareness has grown, new treatments have been developed that make HIV far more manageable, and many of those infected go on to lead productive lives. Between 2005 and 2012 the annual global deaths from HIV/AIDS dropped from 2.2 million to 1.6 million.